What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the last car that's in the Elite Bundle number 13. The Porsche 917K is probably going to be one of the craziest looking cars I've ever seen. I really don't think I've actually got a look at one of these like this before, and actually seeing one of these being added into the Crew 2 is honestly pretty crazy. And we're also going to have a new touring car in the game as well, so at least we're going to have another car that you can actually mess with going against all the other ones. And then similar to many of the other touring cars in the Crew 2, all you can actually do is change the colors, which honestly with some cars you can barely even do that, and you can also do the liveries. And then finally, guys, the visual parts, you can change the rims, which I would say a lot of players are most likely going to keep the rims on this vehicle that are stock. And you can also do the caliper colors as well, which is pretty awesome. You can also do some vanity items if you do want to change the tires, which I would say a lot of players are going to keep the stock tires on there. But besides that, guys, the 917K is definitely going to be a pretty unique vehicle. You can also see a lot of the detail of the engine as well, which is honestly pretty awesome. I really do love the way this car was actually designed. It looks so insane. It really is insane to think of the technology that really went into some of these race cars back in the day, and the fact that cars keep getting better and better, and in some ways are probably getting worse, I would say, but overall the design of this Porsche is probably going to be a lot of players' favorite. And then moving over to the outside look of this Porsche, honestly guys, seeing cars like this back in the day really does blow my mind. I mean, for one, look how the engine is back there with all that detail, plus these were actually designed to race. You can also see that spare tire sitting in the back as well, plus like the way the body is designed. It really is insane that they were racing cars like this back in the day, and not only that, this Porsche is also going to sound pretty awesome. Moving over to the cockpit view in the Porsche here is probably going to be exactly what you guys would expect from a race car. It really does look kind of insane in here, plus I'm not really the biggest fan of the view. I mean, it's kind of odd sitting right here in this vehicle. It's also going to be similar to like the McLaren F1, even though that car is going to actually be in like the middle. Regardless though, I would say the detail for a race car is looking pretty dang good. But now, besides all that, let's see what the top speed of the Porsche is actually going to be. So one thing I have been noticing about many of the touring cars is the fact that many of them actually have a very similar top speed to each other. So it's most likely going to come down to how these cars actually handle on the track. But this thing is also going to be a 5-speed, which is slightly rare when it comes to the touring cars. I have been noticing they're normally like 6 to 7 speeds, at least most of them are anyway. So this car is definitely going to be on the unique side when it comes to that, but when it comes to the top speed, guys, if I cannot run into the traffic here, the car is going to do around 267 miles per hour, so it's actually going to be slightly faster than many of the other touring cars like the CCGT, which does like 262 miles per hour, so the Porsche here is definitely going to be on the faster side, and not only that, this thing also handles on a dime. So from the testing I have done with the Porsche 917K or 917K, I guess it's like a tomato or tomato type of thing, but regardless guys, I would say this Porsche is actually going to be one of the better touring cars. Now one thing I have to admit though is I have not really tested out many of the touring cars since the recent update, so definitely stay tuned for those videos in the near future, and I do want to see how they can do, but my goodness, this Porsche here is definitely going to be something I would recommend trying out. For one, this car is going to do around 265 miles per hour, so it's definitely going to not struggle in the top speed category. I have noticed at least many of the touring cars seem to be pretty dang fast in that aspect, so it does seem like the Porsche is going to be right up there with many of the other cars. It's also going to be faster than some of the other cars like the FXXK, so I really do wonder how something like a new car like this will compare to some of the other ones, and or some of the new quote-unquote meta cars that are actually in the game now as well. One of the other things I noticed, guys, with the Porsche here after messing around with the settings a little bit is the fact that, my goodness, this car corners so dang well. I was noticing when you guys do fly around a corner with some of the cars, at least before the update, a lot of the cars really weren't that fun, but now after that recent handling update, all the cars are going to be so much more fun than they used to be, which I really cannot wait to try more of them out. One thing I really do like about the new Porsche though is the fact that when you guys are racing this car on a track and or on the road as well, I notice it feels so dang planted to the ground, it's kind of insane. It also gives you a lot more confidence because you can actually fix where you are, like maybe dodging a car and or finding that better racing line on one of the corners as well. So I really cannot wait to test out the Porsche more and see how this car can do against like the FXXK or the Lamborghini Gallardo Super Trofeo as well, which is still probably going to be one of many players' favorites. I really do feel like the Porsche though can easily compete with some of the better touring cars, and I really cannot wait to see what's going to happen with this class in the future, with so many of these cars actually being a lot better. But let me know your thoughts on the Porsche 917K in the comments below, and here are the settings I'm currently running on this vehicle.